Welcome back. On Abaco, a 34-year-old man has been arrested in connection with an alleged sexual assault on a woman that occurred on Thursday, sometime around 5 a.m. in the Dundastown, Abaco area. Reports indicate that the victim was catching a ride with a man that she knew, but during the journey, the man allegedly produced a sharp object and sexually assaulted her. According to the JCN's records, this is the 5th sexual assault incident reported so far this year and follows the sexual assault of a woman at a residence in Highbury Park on January 30th. Free National Movement Member of Parliament for East Grand Bahama, Jcn Thompson, is repeating the FNM's call for the government to eliminate value-added tax on healthy foods and other essential items. It comes after the Prime Minister announced that beginning April 1st, VAT on unprepared food items will be reduced from 10% to 5% in an effort to help reduce the high cost of living.
Well, we had said that we didn't think it was enough to begin with. We thought that the government ought to remove VAT off of all healthy food. I believe that the public is looking forward to listening today to see whether they are going to make any additional relief measures. I believe that the people need additional relief measures. They need VAT off of all healthy food. They need VAT off of all medicine. And so they also need VAT off of all of feminine products. These are things that were in place. They put VAT on these additional, on the bread basket items, they put VAT on medication, they put VAT on baby products and on feminine products.
Thompson, who is the FNM's Shadow Minister of Finance, says more effort should be made to boost the economy, adding that economic growth has seen a significant decline since 2021.
But that is just a step. They also need to show how they are going to continue to grow the economy. Right now, we are less than 2% growth, which really is no good. And it was from a point of 14% in 2021, and it has gone down to less than 2%. So they need to be able to show to the public how they are going to grow the economy, also how they are going to provide a relief for the cost of living crisis.
FNM Member of Parliament for East Grand Bahama, Jcn Thompson. Meanwhile, according to CEO of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation, Dr. Leon Roll, many business owners expressed their concern that they will see a deficit for items already purchased with the announcement of the VAT reduction on unprepared food items. Mr. Roll spoke to reporters on the sidelines of the Bahamas-Canada Trade Mission, which was held at Bahama on Thursday, and he says the Chamber of Commerce will continue to monitor the situation to ensure that businesses are not adversely impacted.
So we initially thought that as well. What we found is that some of our businesses would have supply in excess of 1 month. And so we know that some of them would have 2 or 3 months worth of supply. And so the challenge or the initial thought process was that they may not have enough time to sell that inventory at the actual VAT rate now, and so they would realize a loss. None of our members have come back and expressed that concern moving forward, and so we believe that the consumers are enjoying it, and we will continue to monitor it as business progress, to ensure that they aren't disenfranchised, but for not being able to sell the inventory that they already had on hand prior to the expiration date.
Roll says his members understand and appreciate that the reduction is meant to target average Bahamian households as they combat rising food costs.
So VAT is a tax that is paid by the consumer, and so it's nothing that has to be borne by the business, and so it's just a 5% reduction on what the business now has for the government. As we would have come out and said, we thought if you were going to ease the burden on consumers and you want to shift to people who can afford it, then perhaps it was more prudent to put it on those things that the regular or the average Bahamian would purchase as opposed to a blanket. But nonetheless, we're watching to see what the process is, and we're watching to see how this impacts not only the business community, but of course the consumers who are loving, as I said, the VAT reduction.
The value-added tax reduction is said to impact grocery stores, convenience stores, gas stations, but will not include restaurants that serve cooked food. The government says April 1st was chosen to allow for a smooth transition for businesses and consumers. And finally, although officials at the Bahamas Wildlife Enforcement Network have said there will be no more warnings and that people caught damaging the environment will be hit with hefty spot fines and possible jail time, they continue to try and educate Bahamians on a myriad of potential environmental infractions you may unknowingly commit. According to Royal Bahamas Defense Force Commander Desiree Corneille, smuggling is another form of environmental hazards that the authorities will crack down on because it could become extremely dangerous, as well as deprive the government of much-needed revenue sources.
We have a lot of persons trafficking invasive species into our country who are hobbyists and pet enthusiasts. And right now that's okay, but right now the only thing we have to be afraid of in our country used to be mosquitoes and a couple of foul snakes that just are afraid of us as we are of them. If we don't police these types of items, you're going to have a lot of dangerous species and poisonous and venomous items that are going to come into the country. On the other hand, we also have persons that are trafficking our species, our endemics, out of the country. We have poaching of flamingos. Of course, everybody understands the IUU, the fisheries that happen. We have fishermen that just take what they want from our waters without us getting anything back into the government coffers. And of course, there's hardwood poaching and cascarilla barks. And in every island, there's a plethora of environmental.
She says there is also the continuous challenge with marine-based environmental infractions.
The Minister Martin would have mentioned some of the other environmental crimes like pollution and derelict vehicles. I want to mention a couple more because a lot of persons are with a new agency need to understand what the entire gamut of environmental crimes is. So I mentioned earlier that there are a lot of vessels that we have anchoring in our waters that continue to just pull up our reefs. Our reefs are extremely important not only for fishery supplies and nurseries, but they actually help with stemming waves during heavy waters. There's a lot of persons involved in mangrove removal without any type of permits. Again, something that helps protect a very, very flat land surface from storms.
To get more information and what to do to avoid breaking environmental laws, you are encouraged to visit the Bahamas Wildlife Enforcement Network official website. That will do it for your JCN Evening News. Once again, I'm Jarino Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us.